And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be nominal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Doubling up. Roger, roll, Atlantis.
Water towers, fly! Yes!
Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FD off. Bring in FD off. Off. It's orange!
R45! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together, back to the moon and beyond.
The methane would be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Starlink 10-16 mission launching from Slick 40 at the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. My name is Adrian Beil, and we are counting down 53 minutes from now. We should see a Falcon 9 hopefully lift off, but there is some iffiness in the air, which we'll talk about. And alone the fact that I have mentioned this probably once again gets me anger from people. They're like, oh, you're jinxing it. But we will talk about it. Let me introduce the people that are on today's broadcast with me, starting with Ryan Weber. Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Adrian. Yeah, a rare Falcon 9 launch for me, but, had the time, so figured I'd put my hand up for it. And, well, here I am. How's it going, everyone?
Glad to have you here. It's not always Starship. There you go. And then also we have in the field and also probably as a weather reporter today, Max Evans. Max, how is it going?
Good afternoon, everybody. Feeling the wear and tear from the week that has so far been pretty wild since Monday, with this being the second doubleheader in 3 days here on the Space Coast. But always happy to be here, and whether we are sleep deprived or not, we are ready to bring you coverage.
Absolutely. And again, 52 minutes now until the current targeted T0. And we will talk about all if that is a realistic T0, if that will happen or not in a bit. But before that, I also want to quickly introduce Ryan Caton behind the scenes running the stream on fiber internet, I was told. So I just quickly want to mention that. Thank you so much, Ryan, for the production today. And with that, Ryan Weber, if I say Ryan in this case, I mean Ryan Weber, because you're the only one on commentary. Do you mind giving us a quick overview about today's mission? What is this booster? What's this mission? What is launching? I assume some internet satellites?
Yeah, this is Starlink 10-16, another lovely Starlink. It's not always just another Starlink. It's just Starlink. But 27 Starlink satellites or internet satellites, whatever you want to call it, on booster 1080, 1080-20, in fact. So starting to rack up those numbers in terms of flights on all their Falcon 9 boosters. They're going to try to recover this on Just Read the Instructions, and your fairing recovery vessel is Bob. So they're, we got another Starlink launch. It's always fun to just come on here and just say it's just another Starlink, even though I don't go on Falcon 9s a lot, but it gets fun.
And also, sometimes they are suddenly surprising us with amazing visuals, amazing sound. You never know what happens. And it's also, Alex is telling in the back channel, the 12th booster to reach 20 flights. However, we have to talk about the weather here. So, Max, I'm bringing you in here. Do you mind giving us a quick overview of the weather so far at the Cape and how is it looking?
Yeah, weather tends to be a hot topic, especially at this time of year in Central Florida, being that the weather in the afternoon, particularly like around now, tends to become very unstable, and storms can brew up literally out of nowhere. And there has been a lot of rain in the area so far as of this morning coming into the afternoon, and there is still some stuff brewing out over the Atlantic last time I checked over the radar. Actually, if I'm looking over my left shoulder now toward LC-39A, and there's a pretty big anvil building, and the wind is blowing this way, so we will see how that plays out. But in terms of how the actual forecast from the 45th Weather Squadron looks, there is only, surprisingly, a 20% chance of violation in weather conditions today, with the primary concern being the cumulus cloud rule. You would think, based on the weather that has rolled through so far today, at least in the surrounding areas, that they would be a little bit higher than that. But hey, not going to complain, but they have already eaten into their window for today by about an hour or so, a little bit over. As far as the rest of the forecast goes, the concern levels for the upper level wind shear, booster recovery, and solar activity are all low. So that is all good. The biggest question mark, I think, so far is how is the weather around the Cape going to behave today? Is it going to be calm until the window is through, or until they can get Falcon 9 off the ground, at least for this current T0? Or is the weather going to roll in and spoil the day for the rest of everybody? That is the big question mark, and we are waiting to see what happens. But at least at the moment, there is still a really good amount of sunshine here, being at the Kennedy Space Center, looking out toward Slick 40 at the moment. So fingers crossed, things could go well, or things could turn sideways really quickly. But that's typically how the weather patterns go here in Central Florida now in the summer.
We'll talk about that. There's also a bit of iffiness here with the sub windows, Ryan. I want to quickly go to you here. The sub window here is so iffy that after this it gets a bit complicated in terms of launch opportunities. Do you mind giving us a quick overview? What happens if they cannot go at this time?
Yeah, so the first few sub windows are relatively close together between 12:39 and then 1:22 p.m. Eastern Time. However, after the 1:22 p.m. Eastern Time, it then jumps to 3:03 p.m. Eastern, and then there's a couple of more sub windows all the way till 4:30. So there's 11 in total, but there's like a hour and a half, 2 hour gap in between two of them.
And I have to jump in here because the T0 clock just got updated. So we don't have the updated website yet, but SpaceX has updated their X feed, which is a very good indication of what is about to happen. They have just apparently taken the 3:03 p.m. sub window. So yay! I kind of, yeah, I think I somebody jinxed it. I'm not sure who we make responsible for this. Look, there's a Max Evans in the top right, in the Thrust Collection Raptor t-shirt. But yeah, we are now 2 hours and 30 minutes away from this launch, with the weather apparently being too iffy. And we heard Max earlier talk about these anvil clouds and everything. And Ryan, launching through clouds in general is a bad idea, right? Thick clouds, I should say.
Yeah, because you can generate too much static electricity through the clouds, which can cause all sorts of issues to the rocket and its avionics and other things. Famously, SEC docks. You don't really want to have to go through that, so you try to avoid it anytime you can. It's just generally it's not a good thing to fly through storms, even for airplanes. I mean, they can be designed to do it. You just want to try to avoid it. You know.
Absolutely, it's extra safety precaution they are doing, yeah, right now they are taking a bit of a additional safety. And are pushing later into the window. Max, of course, with Falcon 9, there's a bit of this iffiness with window taking, as they don't have that much flexibility once they commit for a window, right?
That's correct. I mean, really, they have as much as they can use as much of the window as they please until they go into propellant loading. And once they begin propellant load, they are then committed to that set T0 that they were initially targeting. Because once propellant begins to flow in, there's no chance to recycle either the vehicle systems or the ground systems in time for another attempt in the window, especially if they push later on into the window like they currently already have. So they have until about T-minus 38 minutes or so, and that's when the launch director here at Hangar X polls if everything is go or no go for prop load. And if they are then committed. But if they are not go, or if they opt to wait, then they have as much time left in the window as they have. And in this case, they have a little over an hour left. So never fear. Worse things have happened, and Falcon 9 has launched in much worse weather conditions than we are seeing today. But the weather can change here rather quick, and SpaceX is obviously seeing some stuff on the radar and seeing some data elsewhere that they are not happy with and are wanting to try and wait out. So we will have to see and see what happens.
Absolutely. And at this point, while I love to talk with you all here, I have to say I already did a 4-hour stream today, and I also think Starlinks are a bit more limited in terms of what we can talk about here. But we want to make sure that you have continuous views of the rocket, so we stay here. But we will pause our commentary for the moment here, and we will leave you with some nice tunes until we resume commentary closer to the launch attempt again. So we will see you all in less than 2 hours from now.
And here we go. We have liftoff. Propulsion continues to be normal.
R68 chamber pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, with planet.
Water towers fly! Yes! Tango down to nominal.
Flight downside FTE off. Bring in FTE off. Off. It's orange!
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Decollage. Put that in the big bag, Jingle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
we rise together back to the moon and beyond.
If there's methane, it'd be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You read? We don't need any more of these.
And we are back. Hello, everybody. After I even lost time. I lost track. I think about 2 hours of constant bad weather delaying this launch. We are now apparently potentially on track again, but we will find out in the next 10 minutes if that is indeed the case. I'm Adrian Bile. I'm still your host for today's mission, and I'm still joined by Ryan Weber. Hey, Ryan.
Well, hey everyone, we're back. Yeah, the weather can be sometimes fun, and delay launches and everything like that. But let's hope the Starlink goes. Let's see a Falcon 9 launch here.
Yeah, I think we have no better person qualified to talk about the last 2 hours in terms of weather than Max Evans. So I'm coming back here to you, Max. What happened there?
There were just some cells that were building out over the Atlantic, and they were coming this way, and they were producing enough lightning to warrant Phase 1 and Phase 2 lightning warnings, both for the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station and the Kennedy Space Center as a whole. And when you were under Phase 2, you may not proceed with either fueling operations, and it is recommended that everyone stay indoors or under shelter. So. Yeah, the weather got interesting, but I think we actually lucked out a bit in that a lot of the bad weather either cut north of us or cut south of us. So we did not get wet here at the press site, nor did the pad from the looks of things. So I think as everything happened as it was, I think we all fared okay.
Absolutely, and it looks like this Falcon 9 is still on track. Again, they have, I think, 3 more opportunities, Ryan, here, right? Like to launch, but still some wiggle room in the window.
Yeah, if they can't hit 3:54 and 50 seconds, they have 4:14:10, 4:19:00, and then they've got 4:30 to 4:32:59. So there's a couple of windows in there that open up. So they got like 3 more basically chances to do it if they can't hit this particular one. But if they start loading here relatively shortly, then they're committed. They're committed for 3:54.
Absolutely. The beauty of Falcon 9 is once it commits for a launch, it cannot adjust anymore. Besides, of course, some like second wiggle room for example, ISS missions. But besides that, nothing really to wiggle anymore. We should expect fueling to result in frost appearing in about 5 minutes or so. We'll actually, Max, it might be a bit harder with the conditions today to spot, right?
Both yes and no. I mean, we, on one hand, are blessed with a very rare daytime Starlink where we have full sunlight with us to get a good view of Slick 40 from this perspective. But on the other hand, because of the humidity and the sheer heat that is present here at the press site today, it's about 91 degrees right now, or about 32 degrees Celsius. There's as you can see, there is quite a bit of atmospheric distortion, which takes away any sharpness or clarity, especially at this distance. So, but that being said, because this booster is a 19 flight flown booster, this being its 20th, there is a good amount of frost on the tank structures, and the white frost should contrast quite nicely against the dark surface. So frost shouldn't be too hard to spot, but it's worth noting now at this point, we are past the point of when the SpaceX launch director here at Hangar X at the Kennedy Space Center would have either verified if the vehicle and ground systems are either go or no go for propellant load. And if assuming they pulled go, we should be seeing both stage 1 RP1 and liquid oxygen and stage 2 RP1 load commence in just under 1 minute from now. Assuming that occurs, then we should be seeing frost at about T-minus 33 minutes or 32 minutes time, depends on varying visibility factors, which today is not great. I have to be sad again, but We should be at the point now where they are either going to commit or push further into the window, of which they don't have much time left. But the weather has cleared out, and everything has been trending in the right direction, at least in terms of external factors. So, fingers crossed.
And absolutely, staying with you, Max, here for one more question here. The situation is, yes, right now the weather is good, but they might have some interest to attempt now because, as you said, Florida weather can be volatile, right? So it doesn't guarantee that it will go better and better from now on. It could get worse again.
100%. But based on the wind patterns that are occurring today, being they're coming from the east, so blowing from east to west, coming off of the Atlantic Ocean, a lot of the weather that would build up and that would affect us would at this point come from the Atlantic, unless there was some dramatic shift in that the winds would then come from the west, and any storms building inland would come this way. But that would be quite a dramatic shift in winds, albeit not impossible. It's not exactly uncommon to happen here in summer, but the weather forecast only called for about a 20% chance of weather violations today. And the primary concern there was the cumulus cloud rule, in that if Falcon 9 was to fly through some thick clouds, it would lose, or it would create its own lightning, and that would just be a bad day for all sorts of systems involved. So everything, as far as we can tell right now from the Mark 1 eyeballs, all of the bad-looking clouds are moving away from us, and there is plenty of blue sky to go around.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that update, Max. Ryan, I have some. So this morning we saw, of course, an RTLS, a return to launch site, landing for the Axiom launch. And there's some weird technicality about the lease expiring. And a Fighting Falcon is wondering, with the landing zones not being owned by SpaceX anymore, how will the two side boosters land? Two drone ships? Like, will we see RTLS in the future?
Yeah, we're going to see RTLS in the future. SpaceX has plans to build landing pads at, and I know there's plans at 39. I'm pretty sure there were plans at 40 off the top of my head. It's been a minute since I've looked, but they have plans to build other landing pads even closer to their launch site. So, yeah, it's not going away. It's just they'll land closer to the launch site. It won't be catching them like they do at Super Heavy, but it'll be pretty close to the pad.
Absolutely, and I also want to emphasize landing pads are, in the overall grand scheme of things that SpaceX builds, probably the most trivial thing they build. Because it's literally just like a space to land.
Circle of concrete.
Yeah, it's a circle of concrete. It's not really. It's not that much technical stuff that will be installed in these pads, so they could go on at any single time. It's not that complicated overall.
I mean, let's say this.
Yeah,
it becomes more traditional RTL. It's actually more of an RTLS than they've been doing. This is closer to the pad, so you know.
True. It's actually the true return to launch site.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say that Super Heavy is actually even more true to RTLS because it's actually returning to the launch tower.
Yeah.
I'm just going down this rabbit hole. Technically. 9-8 Central here with a wonderful question. Why do their landing legs deploy seconds before touchdown? It's like, why do they not deploy them like 15 seconds before? Why so late?
Well, if you deploy them too early, you could still be going a little bit too fast, and you might actually damage the hinges, or you'll actually put enough aerodynamic force pushing up on the landing legs that you might actually use some of the crush core. Because inside the it's not really a piston, but inside the landing leg main support, there's an aluminum crush core that acts as a temporary shock absorber. So if the Falcon 9 were to land a little bit too hard on one side or a little bit too hard overall, the crush core would basically absorb some of the energy, and rather than damaging the rocket, you just use up some of the crush core and you just replace it. But with the so in that case they deploy it a little bit later and then make sure it's locked and then land it. So there's more than enough time to do it. They've never really had an issue.
Maybe my eyes are playing with me here, but I think I am trying to see frost. So by this point in time, we should see frost, and I'm trying to see because I will quote Alex in the back channel. The air is angry today. But I think I see potentially a bit of frost. Yeah, it's hard to see. I think though I see some frost. We'll see it more and more definitive very soon. But I feel like there might be some frost on this rocket. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. We'll get a better picture in a few seconds. But I think though you can see frost on the LOX tank here.
There is.
Yeah.
A/B testing. There is.
Yep. Nice. So that means Falcon 9 is locked into a launch window, which is in 29 minutes and 44 seconds from now. Why is that, Ryan?
Well, they're loading. So they're basically into loading subcooled propellant. So they load it late. So right now they're loading stage 1 LOX and RP1, and they will start loading stage 2 LOX around T-minus 16 minutes. They'll load that a little bit later because they don't use that propellant right away. They use it a little bit later into the flight. So they'll load the RP1, then they'll load the LOX basically near the end. So basically it stays as cool, as long, and as dense as possible through the flight.
And the disadvantage of that is you lose your window of launching because it will very rapidly expand, heat up, and, well, engines don't like to have a big corridor of temperatures and pressures. So, yeah. Quickly answering this, Max Fra is asking, since when are the landing zones not owned by SpaceX anymore? If I'm not fully mistaken, they were never owned by SpaceX. They were always a lease, and the lease has expired.
Correct, and that is how all property based at the Kennedy Space Center and the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station are treated, because they are both federal property, and any launch provider or any company utilizing a said property are under lease. So there is no ownership there. It is all lease, and once the lease expires, they are then required to either re-sign or they move on to somewhere else. And obviously SpaceX has deemed that it is more worthy to build new Falcon landing zones both at LC-39A and Slick 40.
Yeah, and just to point this out, there's like no bad blood here. SpaceX is not getting like kicked out of the landing zones. They just decided to not extend this lease, and they want to pursue their own option. That's just what's happening here. Just want to mention before people think, is there like bad blood? The answer is no. 27 minutes from now, we are counting down to Starlink 10-16 on a beautiful day launch here. After we already saw a night launch earlier today. Ryan, what is the status of the Axiom mission that launched earlier today? Somebody here is wondering.
As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen any recent updates, but as far as I'm aware, they're still on their way to the ISS. And as of right now, the approach and docking is set to occur, tomorrow around 5 a.m.? Or it's approximately says that's 7 a.m. I think that's Eastern time. But they're on their way. And because Dragon takes a little bit longer to get there than, say, Soyuz, because you got a little bit more room in a Dragon to move around than a Soyuz, so they don't immediately do that quick. Like I think it's like a 3-hour rendezvous, if I remember correctly.
Yep. Yeah, it's a Crew Dragon, definitely more spacey than the more let's say old school look of the Soyuz capsule, which is a bit more tight on space. So yeah, I would actually prefer to ride on a Dragon versus a Soyuz in terms of space. Probably more comfortable. Soyuz doesn't look that comfortable to me. Let's see here. Actually, I'm searching for a question here. Quickly mentioning, by the way, if you have any more questions, make sure to tag @NASASpaceflight in chat, because we can answer your question here live on air using a handy panel we have here. And somebody just used that, and yeah, okay. Yes, we still use that panel. Wonderful. Let's see here. With this is a question that is interesting, but I'm not sure if I have the answer. With this orbital shell, will we see more daylight Starlink launches? I'm not sure if that's shell dependent. I feel like that's other reasons why they launch at night. Max, I mean you're the person that has constantly witnessed night launches lately. I don't think it's shell dependent.
Yeah, many a night launches. Well, the primary reason for shifting the Group 6 shell and the Group 12 shell southeast was twofold. One, in the fall and winter months of the year, and I guess early spring, the waters toward the Bahamas in the southern Atlantic are just much more kind to all the drone ships and any of the vessels out in the area for fairings and booster recovery. Also, on that other front, it also opened up in another approach to the Orlando airport, obviously in Orlando, because that would come right over the north end of Cape Canaveral, thus violating what would have been the TFR. So flying south would keep that approach corridor open, and I guess when they fly north, that I guess would then close that. Hey, there's actually a tortoise walking, complete derail. There's a tortoise walking toward the cameras right now. So I'll send you guys a picture. Complete derail. But yes, that was primarily for those two reasons, and them choosing to launch during the day towards the northeast. That was a very interesting choice. I genuinely am curious as to why they opted to do that and what reasons they deemed it worthy, or I guess necessary.
I love that there's like a mid-question tortoise that is trying to derail the question. I kind of want to have a camera on it. But that might be me. But yeah, in 9/8 Central here, I'm wondering, Ryan, Port Canaveral is undergoing a lot of changes. Are they retrofitting the port for increased space industry activity?
As far as I remember, the last time I looked, I think they were having I think it was an environmental. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was off the top of my head. I'd have to go look at it, but I do remember seeing plans for increased berthing spaces for more space hardware. Because I mean, you got to think we're gonna get. You're going to have more and more Blue Origin launches. You're going to get more and more SpaceX stuff launching. Relativity, Stoke. You're getting a lot of different companies that are going to start launching more. And well, the port at Cape Canaveral isn't that big, so they're likely going to need to increase space. As far as I'm aware, they are definitely talking about doing it.
Yep.
I don't know if there's any concrete plans off the top of my head that are like approved yet for the actual changes.
Yep, absolutely. I also remember that there's proposals for it. I mean, to be fair, this is also a lot of the. Oh, there's the tortoise. I'm glad we caught it before it ran away.
It was walking right towards me, and then it heard me like talking about it, and then it turned right around.
It was like, nah, not a fan.
Nah.
I guess he's camera shy.
Yeah, and also not very very fast. There, it's another step. This is perfect.
Wildlife spotting, and also I think
people are in the back channel saying set up auto track.
I think this is it because I mean, it's how do I word this? I can't English. I've been up for too long for the last 3 days. It's worth remembering that both the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station and the Kennedy Space Center share land with the Merritt Island Wildlife Refuge. So basically, the entire Space Center doubles as a wildlife refuge, and as a result of that, any species of tortoise, dolphin, alligator, all birds, they are all protected, and because of that, they run abundant here, and so it's not an uncommon occurrence to see one of these things, and nor is it with any other wildlife here, especially alligators.
He's speeding. He's speeding.
He's going.
Goodbye.
He might actually need auto track.
Goodbye. Oh, he
He's
was
super camera
speeding. I'm so sorry. I was way too fascinated by this.
You know,
But that was a fun distraction. But there's a certain vent coming up. I have to intro the vent here because we are approaching that time in the countdown. And Ryan, I will ask you the question that we love to ask here. Why is Falcon 9 venting in a bit here with a huge vent cloud?
well, technically, it's not the rocket itself; it's the strong back, and the vent is chill down. Basically, and it looks like there it is right there. The vent is to chill down the lines that are going up the strong back to the or the transporter erector, basically to the second stage. So you chill down the lines before you basically pump a bunch of really, really cold propellant in, because you don't want to shock cool the lines. You'll crack them or damage them, or even you'll do that to the tanks itself. So you want to slowly chill it down, and then you get into fast prop load. It's basically like a slow then fast like load is basically what it is. It's the same thing they do on Starship when you get the OLM vent or the tower vent. So
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I also want to thank Byteford here for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you so much, Byteford. And also, Igor, I want to thank you for becoming a Pet Red member. Thank you all so much. And also, somebody got the swim trunks from our summer collection. I hope you enjoy the summer collection swim trunks. Let's... Some people are asking for multiple camera angle turtle replays. I'm not sure if we have that. There will also not be a slow motion of turtle movement.
Just watching it walk most of the time is slow-mo enough. Except for that one occasion where it sprinted off the edge.
It was so speedy at the end.
it's a quick get away. I don't want to be seen.
Just like gators and crocs. Most of the time I don't want to say they're sluggish, but they're not the quickest to move. But for very short periods of time, they can be lightning quick animals.
Absolutely. And also apparently their teeth are quite dangerous. Like they can actually hurt you if they bite you.
What, alligators and
Oh.
crocodiles? No way.
No, sorry, I was still at the turtle.
Oh, I guess their bite can hurt. I can't really say I've been bitten by one, although it was like right after Artemis 1. There was a turtle up on the mound, kind of toward the press center building, and I was wearing black boots, and for whatever reason, this tortoise was just after my boots and kept trying to bite my toes. It was really bizarre.
I love that my brain didn't switch from crocodile to turtle to crocodile, so I basically said crocodiles can bite. Yeah, thank you, Adrian.
No.
Yeah, really. That's there.
No.
No. Let's see here. I'm not sure if one of you is very up to date this. Well, we'll throw this in the room and somebody can take it. What's the latest news on Artemis 2?
Max, you want to take that one? You might know more than me.
Well, in terms of hardware, both five segment solid rocket motors, the core stage, the stage adapter, and the interim cryogenic propulsion stage, or the ICPS, are all fully stacked in High Bay 3 on the Mobile Launcher 1 at the vehicle assembly building, actually right behind us here at the Kennedy Space Center. They are currently doing some further checkouts on the RS-25s and every other bit of hardware they have in there. And the biggest question mark in the whole campaign right now is Orion. When is it going to be ready? Is it going to be ready in time? The timeline is heavily dependent on Orion's availability, whether or not they roll out with a mass simulator on top, or if Orion is ready in time, and then they roll it out and do full stack testing over at LC-39B with Orion atop of it, like they did for Artemis 1. But Orion is the biggest question mark in the whole campaign. And as far as we are aware, in terms of public timelines, they are actually doing very well for themselves, and they may be a little bit ahead of schedule. So I would say Q1 launch for Artemis 2 is on.
Which will be
assuming Orion is ready.
Yeah, assuming Orion doesn't find an issue, which, let's be real, happened in the past. Oh, I was getting corrected, by the way. Turtles have no teeth, only a very strong beak, which can remove fingers easily.
Can confirm.
So, sorry, I I just knew they can remove fingers. We are off the rails in terms of questions today. Let's see here. 98 Central wondering, how can a pad built in the 50s need little maintenance? Ryan.
If you're I mean, SpaceX rebuilt Pad 40 after a bit. I'll say if you're talking about Pad 40, they rebuilt it after a certain explosion. I don't know, Amos 6. They kind of had to rebuild the pad after that one. And you can always change it, do refurbishments to it, and everything like that. And then if you're also talking about 39A, which that was built in the mid 60s, they built that thing to withstand Saturn V and Nova. And it's built with, I think if I remember correctly, the number is like 52,000 cubic meters of concrete, which is the flame trench of the pad itself for 39A and B. They built it to last, I'll say. That's the one thing when you build something even that long ago, if you build it to last, it's gonna last.
Yeah.
Actually, staying on the VAB for a second, it was actually quick fact. It was built the way it's constructed is actually meant to support, if they needed to, the extension of 2 more high bays on the northern side of the VAB, and also to be to have its ceiling raised by about 100 feet, I think it was, if they needed it. Of course, they have not. I don't think they ever will, unfortunately, but that was all kept in mind when the VAB was being designed and built. Fun fact.
I remember seeing
I didn't know that.
I remember seeing the initial plans for the VAB were something along the lines of 4 to 8 bays on either side, just running down it, and that's where they would have had like 39A, B, C, D, and E, or whatever it was. Like if they were to go to Nova and the Mars program, but of course, alas, that never happened. So
it's one of these, like, sometimes it's super fun to think about the spaceflight programs that never were, but that would have been insanely cool to fly. Do you have like a favorite never flew but it would have been cool kind of project?
Ooh,
Sea Dragon,
Shuttle C.
Delta Next Generation.
of course, you would say
The one.
Yeah, you would
I
say
mean-
Delta. That's a very Adrian answer.
I mean, it had what, like 6 cores?
Yeah, that is true. That would look sick.
I think it was 7,
Ares-
right? 7. I think it was 7 cores. It was like a full-on. It was so stupid. I loved it.
I mean, Ares 5 would have been amazing too. Like that would have been a cool the latter points of the Constellation program.
R68, my beloved. Yes. I would have loved Ares 5 to fly. That's the good Ares rocket to fly.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Cool. We have nobody here that is of the bad opinion. I like this. Moving on before people can intervene. Let's see here. I'm seeing a Shuttle Centaur G being suggested by somebody in chat as potential spaceflight thing. I also want to quickly actually mention the old Starship designs. Some of them were really cool.
ITS. Bring it back.
ITS,
good.
BFR. Yeah, honestly, the tri-fin Starship design I think looked really sharp.
Yeah, like the triple fin BFR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's definitely up there in terms of dang it, why did they cancel this? But
Fun
it makes
fact.
sense.
Fun fact: the Block 3/4, when they get to 4 booster of Starship that they currently have planned, is going to be nearly as powerful as the ITS booster with 42 Raptor engines that were a little bit bigger. Like they're almost getting to that level. They're getting there, anyways. And that's with a smaller. That's with 9, not 12.
I still wonder if somebody at SpaceX is looking at this 9 diameter rocket and is like, we should have made it 12. Should have made it 12. but you will never know. I am just wondering. I wanna get insight into meeting rooms. That's just me. Let's see. I'm also seeing Saturn Shuttle. There's a lot of funky spaceflight projects. We should probably do a whole video on funky spaceflight project that's got cancelled. What did not what was not cancelled? I'm sorry, I butchered that transition. Is the perfect fit for these hot weather that you can see on your screen right now, because you can see all of that heat distortion. Imagine if we had a whole summer collection for you to enjoy this hot weather better. Ryan, I'm stalling. There we go. And here you can see it. Well, you can not see it yet because images are not loading yet. But we have a whole summer collection. If you click on the summer collection at the top with the palm trees, and you can get all kinds of Hawaii shirts. You can get. I will just pretend I see everything. I can see Hawaii shirts. You can get the swim shorts that we saw earlier. We also have blankets. Blankets. What do they call blankets that you dry yourself with? Towels. So yeah. Make sure to check out that collection. I think it's a cool way to gift. I love my Hawaii shirts. There they are. So if you like that, make sure to go to the top section of the NSF store and click on the double palm trees with the super heavy splashdown summer and enjoy all of these amazing products. Thank you so much. We improvised this. Back to the Falcon 9. Whoosh. With just 9 minutes to go. And I'm not sure if we have the timeline here ready, but Ryan, what is the final steps here for Falcon 9 before it will launch in just 9 minutes from now?
So in about, a minute 40 seconds or so, Falcon 9 will begin engine chill of the first stage prior to launch. Then you get to about T-minus 1 minute, in which the tanks will pressurize for flight, and the flight computer will take control of the vehicle. At T-minus 45, the launch director will verify go for launch. At T-minus 3 seconds, the engine controller will command engine ignition sequence to start, and at 00, Falcon 9 lifts off. And that's where we're at.
There we go. 8 minutes from now, Max, you're on track for this today. Are you expecting any special sound or special visuals for today?
Not much different than what we've had recently from Slate 40. I mean, it's pretty standard. We know what to expect in terms of sound and visual appearance. Obviously, today being a rare appearance of sunlight during a Starlink mission, so we have that going for it, in that we won't just be looking at the flame the whole time. We will actually have a full Falcon 9 to look at with the camera, which will be lovely. So we will track that all the way to the northeast, which is also still something I'm trying to get used to, because they've been flying almost nothing but southeast for the better part of the last couple of years. So flying northeast always feels weird to readjust to, but I am very much excited for it.
Absolutely. My second Falcon 9 launch today. I'm looking forward to this. I think it's a big contrast to the visuals we had during Axiom, but I also agree daylight launches are just nice because you can see the rocket. I like to see the rocket and not just a giant flame ball. And with that, Max, I think it's time to say goodbye until after the launch, and I wish you the best of luck tracking this.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll see y'all on the other side.
See you there. So, Ryan, just you and me for the next 6.5 minutes. Oh, absolutely insane. Do you think we will see this kind of crazy Starlink cadence for a longer period of time, even if Starship starts to be operational?
I don't think they're going to slow down Falcon 9 anytime soon. And that's also to say, with all the issues the Starship program is currently experiencing, they are a significant amount of time away from getting any sort of good cadence with Starlink launches. The Falcon 9 is not going to stop. They're going to keep filling out the shells, even with Starship operational. If you're launching both at the same time, it's just quicker to finish your constellation. And then, of course, Once your constellation's finished, then you start using Starship to replace the V2 V2 minis over time as they degrade and as they reach their end of life and everything. So I have a feeling they'll run them both in conjunction for a while yet, and there's no reason to get rid of Falcon 9. It's a very reliable rocket. So
yeah, it's kind of tough to replace the absolute workhorse of the international launch industry right now. And it will take some time for any other rocket to get to that cadence. Let me thank some more people here. Chris Stokes with becoming a PadRep member. Thank you so much for that. And then also Lars Edbloom with a super chat saying Turtle Fund. Not sure what we exactly use our Turtle Fund, but I will add it to the Turtle Fund. Shiloh McKinsey adding in the super chat. So who's singing today? Nobody. We are not starting a trend based on Jack starting to sing, and then we are suddenly all doing it. It's just Jack. It's not a musical. It's a solo performance.
you don't want to hear me sing. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I same. I really don't. So that's not a thing that will happen. Let's see here. Why did they have to change direction with the launches? Why were they initially southeast and now they are northeast? Ryan.
I don't remember off the top of my head for that reasoning, unless Alex knows.
I think it's just Shell's trajectory. Like, my answer would be basically because that's right now what is required based on launch and trajectory.
Yeah, just different orbital inclinations is basically what it is. That's what Alex is saying.
Okay. Perfect. We will mark that off our knowledge list. 53 degrees needs landing in the Bahamas if southeast. There we go. So, yeah. 3.5 minutes from now, well, we will approaching the point where the Falcon 9 takes over the countdown, and then, of course, we'll conduct the final steps. What does the Falcon 9 actually do when it takes over the countdown, Ryan? What does that mean?
Basically, it supersedes any ground computers or the control room itself. So when the flight computer takes over, it takes over any aborts or anything along those lines. So basically, if an issue were to pop up, it would be an automated abort using the flight computer rather than, say, something from the control room. So it just takes control of the vehicle is basically what it does.
I think in the early days of SpaceX, if I remember correctly, there were a few launches where it scrubbed always at 59 seconds because that was when the launch computer took over and instantly was nope. So if I completely remember that correctly, but Alex is already typing. So yeah, did I say the S word just now? I'm seeing people saying I just said the S word. I'm sorry if I said it. So yeah. I can also confirm that apparently people are being signed off for singing sessions here again with using these super chats. I'm not sure if they have agreed to this, but we'll talk about that later. Just 2 minutes from now, we will have a hard time spotting the T-tab today. Ryan, what is the T-tab used for?
T-tab is used for igniting the Merlin engines. Basically, it's a oh my goodness, I'm going to try to remember how to pronounce it off the top of my head. But basically, it's a hypergolic mixture that just ignites on contact and ignites your RP1 and liquid oxygen and starts the engine. So it's a little bit, it's pretty reliable stuff compared to try having to use igniters, like just straight up igniters or torch igniters like Raptor uses. And it's just the way they built Merlin to ignite. So.
Absolutely. Basically, they're using a small to middle-sized fireball to ignite the engines. We are now sub 1 minute, so the Falcon 9 launch computer should have taken over the countdown at this point. waiting for confirmation for that. And also the confirming Falcon 9 is in startup. Just now we are waiting for the go from the launch director. The launch director will verify everything is good to go, and that will be the final call for launch. And after that, it's just Falcon 9 executing its flight path. Waiting to hear that confirmation, or getting confirmation of that. But we are 30 seconds away from this rocket launching. Again, watch from the bottom. You will see the plume first before you see the rocket moving. That is because the 9 Merlin engines are basically doing a very quick sub-second health check before the launch clamps open, and then it will launch. We are go for launch according to SpaceX. 5 seconds from now. Again, watch the bottom of the rocket. There's the plume. We have engine ignition. And we have liftoff of the second Falcon 9 from the East Coast today, carrying Starlink 10-16 for more internet satellite in low Earth orbit. Falcon 9 flying in front of an absolutely wonderful blue sky. And as we are also hearing a wonderful engine sound at this point, we're seeing 9 healthy Merlin engines. And the booster is all the way already very close to stage separation, just in under a minute from now. And again, for people wondering, this is the 20th flight for B1080. And standing by for that stage separation. Again, it will be a staged separation, which means the Merlin engines will shut down in sequence. It's 2 of each, basically shutting down. And there you can see it flying. And that's shut down. And stage separation, I think, confirmed. And yeah, there you can see the 2 stages on their own. And yes, the second stage. There we can see the on the SpaceX feed again, the ignition of the second stage. Wonderful. And the booster will now return to just read the instructions, which is stationed in the Atlantic Ocean. Beautiful launch, Ryan, I would say. Everything looking good so far.
Yeah, it's always nice to see a rocket launch. I need to see one in person at some point here. I really do. It's always cool to see, and especially when you get clear skies, you get to see the plume, you get to see the separation even from the ground. It's always awesome.
I fully agree. And there you can see the first stage on the left and the second stage on the right. And they are now coasting in preparation for the entry burn, which will happen about 2 minutes from now, where the Falcon 9 will slow itself down. Look at that wonderful blue ocean color. Very, very wonderful. I love these cameras. let's see. There will be. I see people. There will be no singing. I don't think there will be singing. Stop. I will thank you all later, but don't. But the booster has now hit apogee, and it will now go down again and will also rapidly build up speed. And let's see here how this landing goes. Look at that cloud. There's just a giant cloud there below the first stage.
Probably one of those storm systems over the Atlantic, one of those little small cells.
Yep. Absolutely. Wonderful. This is fantastic views right now, and I hope we get some audio. Nah, well, let's just read the instructions. We will not get some audio. It's ASOC where we sometimes get audio.
And it's not like they have time to upgrade these drone ships. Get it in, get the booster off, turn it right back out.
Alex is informing us this was the second fastest turnaround time for Slick 40 at 2 days, 13 hours, 56 minutes, and 20 seconds. Fastest turnaround times is 2 days, 8 hours, 59 minutes, and 30 seconds. So they got close when they were at the beginning of the window. They would have not make it, but like they got at least close. There's the entry burn. You can see 3 engines there in the bottom left overlay, and now also on the visuals.
Supersonic retropropulsion.
The best word. Kind of want to have that like on a, I don't know, on a doormat or something.
And they got a bunch of shit on the camera.
Yep, just in the last second of shutdown, suddenly soot. And just 30 kilometers here to go. The drone ship, it's full of soot, so it will be hard to spot. But usually the drone ship appears somewhere in the top left grid fin. And we'll see if it will be spottable. You can now see the booster really fighting the atmosphere as it's waving left and right. But good views, stable views here on that booster.
Not to, just before you land, not to make it about Starship, but I can't wait to see the 3 grid fin setup.
Oh,
work.
true. Oh, look at that. Look at the aerodynamics on the grid fins. Absolutely fantastic. And there comes the single landing engine ignition. There it is. And there's the drone ship. Steering very softly here. You can see the water deluge on the drone ship deck as they're making sure to water the deck. Not really everything not watered there, but whatever. Touchdown! B1080 lands for 20th time. Wonderful. That was a very flawless landing on just read the instructions. And we are just seconds away from also seeing the shutdown of the Merlin vacuum engine. You can see it there. And it should shut down any second now. And there it is. Merlin shut down as well. There we go. Wonderful missions. Replays are of course coming up. Oh wow, replays out there.
Rapid turnaround.
Yeah.
Ryan, I am
Also-
wow.
I was not familiar with your rapid turn game, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan was cooking. That's fiber. That's just
Yeah,
fiber.
I guess.
Wonderful. Look at that Falcon 9. Oh, the sky is beautiful. I'm just impressed by this fast turnaround. I didn't expect replays this fast, honestly.
It's a pleasant surprise, I'd say.
There's Port Canaveral. I mean, honestly, this looks like really like a travel advertisement for Florida right now in terms of sky.
It does now. It didn't about 2 hours ago. I have to say.
You have to admit. Oh wow. Look at that. Falcon 9 in flight. Alex also informing us in the back channel that at this point Falcon 9 is on track to launch 163 times this year. So quite a cadence. And
Vapor cone coming up here in a couple seconds, I believe. Oh, got before the vapor cone, Ryan. No.
that was
No,
pain.
Ryan. No, it hurts.
That was pain in Mac's voice.
It hurts. No. Like, you probably within, like, I'm not even joking, probably 2 or 3 seconds of the vapor cone appearing over the fairings, and then he cut it. No. Wow, he actually included a tortoise replay. That's incredible.
Wow. So, hey everybody, we finally have a replay of a turtle on an NSF stream.
Tortoise.
I hope
Tortoise, Adrian. Tortoise.
There's
Sorry.
a difference. There's a difference.
I hope you all enjoy. It
It's the
was
first time
really
for everything.
like how long do you let this run, Ryan?
Is this
it like
Terry
a-
the tortoise or what?
It
apparently-
loops.
Yeah, apparently it loops. But does he catch
but-
it sprinting toward the edge here in a moment?
We all have problems and need sleep. I feel like the no from Max was close to singing. Like
The pain
feel like
right there. Yeah,
the pain was close. I would say that counts as singing.
Y'all,
I agree.
This is the second doubleheader and second near all-nighter in 3 days. I'm doing my best out here, I promise.
Yeah. Oh, there it runs. Goodbye.
My planet needs me. Goodbye, my friends.
And there's another Falcon 9, by the way. I love that you didn't even put the turtle replay at the end. You put it in the middle. I think we now might get the vapor cone you have asked for, Max.
No, I think it's now looping. Yeah, these are looping.
Okay,
replays
that
now.
was the end. That was the end. Okay, confirming. Cool. Let me thank some people because we got some very generous support here. Starting with Anonymous saying, love the banter during these launches, have rarely missed a launch NSF cover since the Texas tank watching days. That's cool. Anonymous, I hope you enjoy your Starship assembly shirt. And overall, thank you so much for being with us since the Texas tank watching days. And now, okay, this will be fun. Ari has super chatted a $2 super chat, a $5 super chat, a $5 super chat, a $5 super chat, a $5 super chat, and a $5 super chat, counting up from 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Because there was apparently a goal for singing. And once again, I want to remind everybody, I mean, I'm not sure. And oh, Jesus, thank you so much for that support. I really appreciate it. Kevin Michael Reed also coming in. Are you just super chatting Kevin to get somebody to sing?
He might have.
Thank you so much, Kevin, for supporting this channel. Ari with a 7. Thank you so much for the £5. William with a storm message saying, can't wait to do a cannonball in my new dragon swim trunks. I think the real crew dragon will probably make a bigger splash, though. Probably. Very likely. Dragon is very big. So, but I hope you enjoy the swim trunks. And enjoy that cannonball. That diabetic kid with the super chat saying 8. Ari guest with a 9. And then Severine Fisher with a super chat saying 10. I will bring this up in, but Jesus, everybody. Why?
No, the Jake.
What should we even sing? What should I will bring the. Why are you like this?
If you want me to sing, you're getting Taylor Swift. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay,
So-
Nobody wants to.
If we were to sing, like, what are we singing? Like, that's what I'm mostly concerned about right now is what are we singing?
If it would be
Because
bad
Jack was
weather,
singing
would
Lady
be,
Gaga. So like what are we doing?
if the weather would be bad, we could at least sing in the rain. I guess.
Oh, I'm singing in the rain. What I can't remember how the rest of the song goes. Dang it!
Yeah, I'm also blanking after this.
Yeah, I'm completely.
That's the
Are we
radio
fine?
show.
We have
3 days of next to no sleep will do that to you, and it's starting to catch up to me now.
Are we happy? Are we happy, chat? Are we happy, Kevin? I see people. Is this okay? Are we getting the thumbs up?
So it goes, I'll pay Ryan not to sing Taylor Swift.
Dang! Dang!
I don't know two verses, Chris. I only know Singing in the Rain. That's the end. But speaking of the Jay Keegan also came in with another super chat saying, Kevin Michael Reed should sing duet with Adrian. I think Kevin Michael Reed should sing on this week's The Flame Trench.
I would second that. I would super chat that, honestly.
Yeah, I think I will also start a bit of a vote there on Friday. Because Kevin certainly has made it easy to put this on him. But at this point, I want to thank some people. You're starting with Ryan Weber. Ryan, thank you so much for being on today.
It's fun as always, Adrian. Especially trying to get people to sing. It's fun to come on to do a Falcon 9 when I get the chance to, because sometimes SpaceX loves launching these things when I'm at work. So I almost never get the chance to actually be on a Falcon 9 stream. So it's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Max, I know you're in dire need of some sleep. So thank you so much for the whole long day today.
Y'all, it has been an absolute pleasure as always, and what a roller coaster of a ride the past 3 days have been, with this being the second doubleheader since Monday. But you know what? These are the best kind of problems to have, and we are ever so just we could not be happier. We could not be happier to be here and bring this all and bring this all to you guys and share it with the rest of the world. And hopefully, it gets even crazier from here. But until next time, everybody, I'll see y'all again.
Absolutely. I think Gage and Neat Pizza operated some camera in the background. I'm not fully sure. But I will still thank them because they operate cameras from time to time. Gage operated a camera. There we go. Gage, thank you so much for doing that. I know you do that all the time. And then, of course, newly equipped with a fiber line, Ryan Caton operating today's stream. Thank you so much, Ryan, for running the show for 3-4 hours? It was quite a ride. I'm Adrian Bile. I'm your host for today's stream, or I was actually. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
And here we go. We have liftoff.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
Alright, 68 chamber pressure looks good.
Throttling up.
Oh my god!
Décollage.
Look at this!
Put that in the big bag, Eagle.
343 unfolds to go.
Indeed.
We rise together back to the moon and beyond.
This methane will be igniting in the flare, correct?
Yikes. You read? We don't need any more of these.